Shalom everyone, welcome back to the channel. I apologize, I've been on a bit of a hiatus lately. I've been working on a few projects, a couple things that are going to be exciting for you all, and just kind of working on some things around the homestead. So I wanted to bring you a recipe today. This will be a quick one, but wanted to get something out there for you until we have a few more exciting recipes coming out. But this is going to be a chocolate chip banana nut bread. I'm going to make these into muffins, but you can do it in a loaf pan. But this will be a pretty easy recipe. It's something I've shared before. I'm modifying a little bit. We're going to add some almonds to it and a little bit of almond extract just to kind of give it a little different flavor. So come on in. We'll get down to it. All right, let's get down to it. The ingredients here are going to be listed in the description, so check that out, but we'll go over it real quick. I have 4 bananas. These were frozen. I like to take bananas that go over ripe because we always have bananas in the house, but we don't always eat them all. So we peel them, we freeze them. You can use it for smoothies, banana breads, all kinds of applications. So that's that. 2 eggs. I modified this from the original recipe. It's a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and I put about a 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract in there too. Normally I use pecans or walnuts. I'm using almonds because that's what I have. A cup of chocolate chips. I cut back on the sugar. Usually I do a 1/2 cup of brown sugar, a 1/2 cup of white sugar in this. I wanted a little less sugar, a little lower on the glycemic index. So in this case I used a 1/3 cup of coconut sugar and a 1/3 cup of granulated organic white sugar. Then of course butter. You can use coconut oil or a decent palm oil, but I like to use butter. And then this is 1 cup of all-purpose gluten-free baking flour, a 1/4 cup of almond flour. You could use 1 1/4 cups of your all-purpose flour if you're not concerned about being gluten-free, but my son's gluten-free, so we're going to go that route. A teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of cinnamon, about a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. So we're going to start in typical fashion for making almost any muffin recipe. We're going to start by whipping the butter. We're going to add the sugars, and we're going to let that go for a second. Always make sure you scrape the bowl. You can do this by hand if the butter's soft, or you can use a electric mixer. That's totally fine. If you're using a KitchenAid, use the paddle attachment. Make sure you scrape the bowl. We'll bring this in to view a little bit better. There we go. So once that's well incorporated, we're going to add the eggs one at a time. You could and should pre-crack these, but I am a professional, so be just fine. All right, you want that well combined. You also want to pre-mash your bananas a bit before you add them to this, because you'll see that the fat will start separating from the liquid once you add these bananas. To make sure that's well incorporated. And add your bananas. A little slower at first. The cool thing about gluten-free, unlike other flours, is you can mix it more. You don't have to worry as much about over-mixing it. But it's good practice not to over-mix things anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly incorporate some of the flours into this. Probably about half of it now. Put it on low speed, and then we'll add a little bit more. You can add your spices. Go ahead and add the rest. This is a very forgiving recipe as well. Okay, let's just scrape the bowl again, because I don't want any chunks of butter not combined with the rest of it. Make sure everything's incorporated nicely. Extract. Add your nuts here. Add your chocolate chips. And we're done. So I'll go ahead and move some things around. We'll get them scooped up. Hopefully your oven's already preheated to 350. I'll put a note in there at the beginning to do that before you get started. But we'll go ahead and get these in muffin cups and get them going in the oven. All right, now we have the batter complete. The next thing we want to do, and this is a lot easier if you have like a scoop, a disher, or an ice cream scoop, but you want to carefully fill these cups up. And I like to use, you can also use a bread pan and make a chocolate chip banana bread. But I like to use this because one, you've got instant portion control. My 5-year-old loves it this way. And two, it's just a lot easier, a little less messy. If you decide to do this in a loaf, make sure that you butter the loaf pan and lightly flour it so that it'll come out easy when it's ready to go. Also, if you do this in a loaf pan, you'll want to let this cool on a cooling rack when it's completed. So I'm gonna go ahead and zip through these. This will probably make around 18 to 20, but I'll go ahead and get this first round going because I think this is my only muffin pan. And I like to fill this about 2/3 of the way up. I like a larger muffin, kind of a look of abundance. Yeah, I made these on the bigger side, so it looks like I'm only gonna get maybe about 14 or 15 out of this, which is just fine. And these freeze extremely well. So you can make these ahead in either format that you like. Let them cool completely. Stick them in a bag and freeze them. Now one more step I'm going to take with this. I made sort of like a sugary streusel topping. This is brown sugar. You can use melted butter. I actually used a little avocado oil and a little bit of oats just to give it a little bit more body and texture. And that way, since I did cut back on the sugar a little bit earlier, I'm kind of adding some of that back into this. And then the oats will give it a little bit of texture too on the top. So liberally sprinkle this on the top. Hopefully I made enough. We'll make it enough. Just enough. Okay, so into the oven we go. We'll see you when it's done. All right, so here we go, everybody. This is our chocolate chip banana nut muffins. These are gluten-free. Like I said, you've got options there. I admit I did have to do a reshoot on this. Somehow I lost the audio on the last video, so it took a little longer to get this one out to you. We've got some more great videos coming. We're gonna make some fresh homemade mozzarella, so look for that on the horizon soon. Then we're gonna get really into some fun stuff. We're gonna talk fried chicken. We're gonna do a couple of things. We're gonna do a hot Nashville fried chicken, and then we're gonna get into the chicken sandwich game. There's a lot of people that are excited about these fast food chicken sandwiches. We're gonna take it up about 10 notches and make the best fried chicken sandwich you've ever had, including making the bread, the slaw, all the other stuff. So look for that in the future. But right now it's about these muffins, this banana bread, so let's give it a try. I'm just gonna take a piece of the muffin top because I don't want to blast this stuff through the shofar. As I expected, it's delicious. And you wouldn't even know that this is gluten-free. No idea. I mean, there's very little discernible difference in there. So we'll give this a quick shofar blast. I got a mouthful of food, so you'll have to excuse me on that one. Anyway, I appreciate you tuning in. Remember, all the instructions and ingredients are in the below in the comments, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot, and shalom.